What's up, everybody? Welcome to another super. Oh shoot! Adrian, wow. I did the thing. Wow. I flubbed it.
We weren't even 5 seconds. You forgot 2 weeks, and you forget the name of the show.
Oh man, Adrian, I'm fired. I'll fire myself. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and Dad Garrett Morlang.
You've had some bad
studio.
Ones.
That was the worst. Here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and resident power washer extraordinaire, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
Am I in the studio with you? I don't even really know. Is this the right one? Am I at the right show?
I honestly, hard to tell. Hard to tell. Time will tell. Honestly,
I guess it's light out. You're on the East Coast. I'm all turned around.
It's all upside down, topsy-turvy here. So yeah, as you can see, I am not in my studio as the quality of this stream / recording looks like. But yeah, I'm coming to you live from New York. This is not Saturday Night Live. Sorry. You
could have ran with it. You could have been cool. Like, I'm on set.
That would have been cool.
Right.
Yeah, I fly back to California tomorrow. We could have just delayed this, but I'm like, nah, we gotta just get it done and over with.
You're gonna be dead when you get back. You're not gonna want to feel like doing it.
Got to get it to the people. So pardon the quality. Also, Discord is on the fritz today as well. I guess they've been having server issues. So I know the webcam quality is kind of janky. Hopefully the audio is not bad for the stream at least. And then obviously in post, you guys will have good, clean audio because we record it separately. But hopefully it all works out here. This is we're building this plane in the air, you know.
Literally, yeah.
So it we're having some fun. Yeah, let's what do you say we just get into this, because it's been a few weeks and I'm struggling, you know. I'm
yeah.
It's amazing. I've totally flubbed so hard right at the beginning of the show. I'm just like,
it just threw you all the way off. You're like, I'm done. I'm over it. No thanks.
It can only go up from here, right? I hope.
Let's just keep going. We got to go as fast as we can, just in case.
Just get it done, you know, before the internet dies or Discord dies, or I just forget how to speak completely, possibly. Today, I always say today, but usually it's nighttime. This is the first time it's actually daytime. So there we go.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about a new Nintendo DS ? GameStop continues to be horrible, and God of War may be getting a sequel. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash, Eddie Martin, and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates and Mama Mare. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1, and you get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show. If you're missing a live stream while we record it, you can get it right after the show. I'm going to edit it and get it out to you folks. Or you have to wait until Wednesday when everyone else gets it. So why not? $1 a month, you can listen to it early, as well as get access to our Patreon exclusive shows, such as Super Gamer Book Club, previous seasons of that, and the current Patreon exclusive show that is Super Later Boys. Yeah, stay tuned for episodes of that, and yeah, continue to support us over there if you would so kindly check it out. And we'll talk more about the Patreon later on the show. I don't want to get too deep into it here, but I do want to give a huge shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on the show. And actually, I say that I think DJ Trues is playing in the background now on the live stream.
We use both of them. It's fine.
On the live stream.
Shout out to all the people that let us use their music.
Exactly. So go check out DJ Trues. That's what's playing actually right now. And but Jack Sriracha and Yate, they're awesome as well. Go check out them. They're in the links in the description as well. So go listen to them all, support them all. Awesome artists who allow us to use their fantastic work. Now is when it would normally be time to check the mailbag, but here's the deal. We got a late submission, and it's a good one that we really wanted to have a good answer for, but we were both struggling to come up with, like, all right, what's that good answer? So we're going to save it. So this is a week where, all right, we'll give you a pass because you did write one in. You did technically send us one. It would be nice to get more than just one. And
yeah,
so far, Sir Prince-a-Lot's just carrying this on his back. He's kind of running the mailbag. So we should just name it Sir Prince-a-Lot Writes.
letters from Sir Prince-a-Lot.
Letters from Sir Prince-a-Lot, exactly. So check that out over on our Discord. There's a channel where we can submit questions, actually. supergamerboys.com/Discord. I mean, you can hang out with us during the week and whatnot. Chat with us, chat video games with us, what movies, shows, whatever you're watching. We like to hang out there. But yeah, we have a mailbag section there. Leave your questions. We love having for the next show. And yeah, stay tuned for that question from Sir Prince-a-Lot. It'll be, I think we could have some, it's just like, yeah, an interesting take on a question we've gotten previously, but just the opposite. I'm like, oh, it's like you don't usually think about that, you know? So that's why we want to have a good one for you. So without further ado, I think it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes. See that? Still got it. I got it anytime.
Anytime.
It'll be 50 years from now. I'll be in my retirement chair. Dirty nude. It's like, sir, what are you talking about?
All right, Grandpa.
No, the nudes. I have to do the dirty nude.
Oh man, at least someone's a professional here on this show. You show up every time, no questions asked, no problems. Me, on the other hand, I'm just a monkey on a typewriter over here.
I do a podcast?
I do what? All right. Sorry, we're not going to have fancy graphics in the video this week either, because again, we're building this with duct tape and baler twine in the air, trying to figure it out. I'm on my laptop.
I believe in our listeners and viewers that they have reading comprehension. So
use your imagination, or better yet, just go check out the articles that we talk about. We always say the name, where we find it, and the author. So just Google it and read it yourself. Or better yet, yeah, just listen. I'm reading it to you. Listen to what I say, right? All right. This first news story comes to us from GameSpot, written by Darren Bonthus. Nintendo patent application shows a dual screen system that can be split in two. Interesting. Details on an alleged series of patent applications filed by Nintendo in November 2022 have surfaced, revealing the concept for a new dual screen gaming device concept that can be split in two. However, it's worth bearing in mind that even a granted patent, let alone an application for one, does not mean a real product will ever see the light of day. But shared on the World Intellectual Property Organization website via Reset Era and first spotted by Game Rant, Nintendo's device is reminiscent of its DS and 3DS handheld consoles, which utilize a dual screen setup for games on those systems. According to the application, the top and bottom halves can operate independently of one another, something that the DS and 3DS handhelds weren't capable of. When the two halves are closed, a screen is still visible from the outside. Interesting. And then there is a little diagram that kind of shows, it just shows, is there more than one photo here? It basically looks like two Game Boy Advances stacked on top of each other.
I don't hate that idea.
Honestly. And from what I can tell too, it almost looks like it slides. This one diagram almost makes it look like a slide phone, like it goes like it kind of like that. What was that? Like instead of sliding out, opening up to like a keyboard though, it's another screen. Which honestly, I don't hate that either. Like what was that? The chocolate LG? Was it LG?
Chocolate did like one. The popular one was the Sidekick.
The Sidekick, right.
Great phone.
I missed out. I missed out so much.
Oh man.
Yeah, so we got these diagrams. It's kind of looking like a weird slider device. The electronic apparatus comprises a first device and a second device. The patent application reads, the first device and the second device can be detachably attached. That's not a word.
That's
detachably
terrible
attached
phrasing.
The first device has a first surface and a first display and a first connection unit, which are positioned on the first surface. The second device has a second surface, a second display that is positioned on the second surface, a second rear surface that is on the reverse side of the second surface, and a second connection unit that is positioned on the second rear surface. What a terrible way to explain that. If
this is confusing me, how do you think grandma is going to be at the store trying to figure out how this thing works?
How bizarre is that? I
What do you think?
I just don't understand what they're trying to say with that. But it's worth noting that Nintendo has filed several patents in the past for the new devices, including an oval-shaped handheld device, and many of these ideas have never fully realized beyond the application phase. For now, this could be another case of Nintendo future-proofing its technology breakthroughs in case it ever does decide to once again release a dual-screen handheld gaming console. What is known about the next Nintendo console is that the transition from the current Switch to its successor could potentially be smoother. Nintendo of America boss Doug Bowser has stated that the Nintendo account system in place on Switch will carry forward to whatever it is that Nintendo is rumored to be working on. Nintendo CEO Furukawa had also previously discussed this, saying the next Nintendo console will use the same Nintendo account system as the Switch. Blah, 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 blah. So this whole thing is like, I initially was thinking, oh, this could be a successor to like the DS or 3DS. Because that's what makes the most sense, because it doesn't, I don't know. And again, as they say in the thing, this might not ever see the light of day. This could totally just like come and go, never be seen.
More than likely.
If it was to be anything, that's what I feel like. I feel like it could be like, hey, or like a Switch, whatever the Switch Lite 2 is, or maybe they call it like a Switch Mini. I don't know. That type of device, like kind of, or like what they had that Game Boy. What was it called? Game Boy Micro back in the day. Maybe it's like Switch Micro. I don't know. It has two screens. You can share it with a friend. I don't know. There's all sorts of wacky, weird things that Nintendo can do, and I mean, they have done. They have done some weird things in the past, honestly. So
that's putting it lightly.
I was originally thinking though, like, you know what? I really think it could be that a 3DS successor, but you seem to think that doesn't make that's probably not the case, right? You were kind of thinking like,
well, I said it's not likely to be a 3DS successor because they have started to port things from the 3DS library over to the Switch. Miitopia was one of the most recent ones that they've done, and there's been a whole lot of smoke that the Kid Icarus game from 3DS is on its way up to Switch, so I wouldn't be surprised about that. And I feel like if they're going to be doing that, they wouldn't want to release another 3DS or a DS type system, because that kind of cannibalizes it, right? That would, why would I buy this little handheld when I could just get it on Switch, because you're bringing the library over anyway?
Yeah.
That would be my biggest reason. My second one, the concept of it seems way like too complicated for myself. If I'm having trouble with listening, trying to visualize it with you describing
like,
it, there's no way the average person is going to be able to figure out confidently how this works. Right? With Switch, you just put it in the dock, you take it out.
Yeah, that's
it. But if you're telling me now that each half of it has two screens, one on the front, one on the back, and they slide into each other, and you can slide it out. Also, this thing is gonna, if that was the case, the thing is gonna be like $600 because you're essentially buying two systems.
Yeah, that's it seems absolutely bonkers to me. It's like, wait, so you're selling like two consoles to me? Like, that's not gonna be an affordable device, that's for sure. So
right.
It's like, oh, you go in, you and your brother or you and your friend go in and buy one, I guess, and then you have to take turns if you want to use it together. Like, I guess I'm just curious, like something like this, like there's got to be like, okay, what are the pros and cons then, like to using it together and apart? Because that's in my mind, it's like, oh, are you going to lose performance? Or is it going to be two full powered systems in each half like that? Again, I don't know. Unless maybe you can maybe like you can take your system and then you take your friend's system and you put them together and that's how you do multiplayer. But then why, when we have wireless already? What's the advantage of that? Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
The more we're talking about this, it's like more seeming like, oh, this does not seem like a very fleshed out idea. It seemed like something they're just like, let's patent it just so no one else can do it. And then it'll never see the light of day, because this does not make sense at all. I can't make sense of it.
When I originally heard about this, I was racking my brain. I'm like, how is this going to work? Right.
Yeah.
You can't cut the power in half and give somebody half a system. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Which means that you would essentially have to sell me. And if these systems are rocking this supposed new Tegra that can do like ray tracing and run that Matrix demo, you know that's not going to be cheap. I expect this next system to be at least $450. So if you're going to try to sell me 2 of those, maybe you'll like take the hit and sell it to me for $700. But nobody's going to buy that for $700. So it doesn't work that way. I don't know. Just
it literally has to be 2 whole systems. Like it has to have its own battery, it has to have its own processor, its own graphics unit. Like
also, can you imagine all the parents that would, let's just say theoretically, drop $700 on this, and you get on a plane and you find like half of a system somewhere or like on a park bench? Oh man, the amount of kids that are going to do that. No, it's not worth it.
Not worth it. Man, the only thing I can think of that they could possibly make this doable is if it literally is old technology, like it is a 3DS that splits in half. Because with the technology they have today, they could make a dirt cheap 3DS, and so it would only be like $150, $200 or whatever. I don't know how much. I don't how much the 3DS normally is, but maybe let's just say it's like $200 or whatever. Yeah, but it's like it is just 3DSs smashed into 2 separate halves like that. I feel like that's the only way they could like financially make it work, is you're just getting 10-year-old tech smashed into this dual system that you can split apart. You know, I don't know.
I don't hate the idea, but at the same time, you also close down the 3DS shop. So unless you're planning to open a new one, it's kind of defeating the purpose. But you did read in the article that Bowser said that, well, now we have the new Nintendo account integration, so maybe they could reopen it, and on the new, like a new infrastructure, a new store, and they can just put it on this device, and then you just start to buy 3DS games that way. But
I
don't know. There's too many variables at play, and they've already started bringing games to Switch, so it seems unlikely.
Seems wacky. Hophead says, are we talking about Soulja Boy's gaming console from China?
Might as well be.
Basically.
With this kind of patent.
Oh man. Yeah. So I don't think, I know some people were like, ooh, does this have to do with the Switch 2 at all? I don't think so.
No.
Because if the rumors are correct, Switch 2 is coming out next year. And they're
don't mess up a good thing. Just do this again.
Filing an application for a patent. If anything, maybe it could be an iteration of the Switch 2, but even then, that seems bonkers. Because again, like imagine paying for 2 Switch 2 consoles in one shot. Like that sounds horrible. Yeah, spend $800 for this thing for what? To be able to hand your friend a Switch.
Right. They can get their own.
They want to play, get their own. I don't know. Crazy. Doesn't make sense. Or unless I don't like this. I don't like what I'm about to say. Unless it's a streaming system like PlayStation Portal. So it's just
like
streaming.
It streams?
So it's streaming over the internet or something like that. So it's literally just like 2 tablets that you can break apart, and then just like you have to have Wi-Fi in order to use the thing or something. Like what if it is just like
I mean, I don't see the point.
Two Amazon Fire tablets taped together that just connect to like a Nintendo Online app that you can.
But then I'd say the same thing again, right? Well, why would you sell me 2? Just sell me 1, and my friend can have the other one. And then if you want to slide them together, we could do it like that. But I mean, you know what? I could see them sliding them together. Because maybe you do like the tabletop kind of deal where you both hold it at some kind of angle and then the game like interacts between the 2 screens as like one big board.
Yeah, maybe.
But that had to be like a gimmick of every game that came out for that console to make it worth it. Totally. And not every developer is going to want to do something like that. So,
yeah. I mean, or again, I feel like having the dual screens, it would have to have some connection back to like DS and 3DS games. That's the only thing I can think of too, is like when you're playing by yourself, you can play DS and 3DS games, or at least games that support it. And then otherwise when you play multiplayer, you just lose that ability, which again, like doesn't make sense. Like why make something that has capabilities that you only use half the time? Or I guess it depends on multiplayer, but
what I could see, which would be crazy, but I also don't put anything past anybody anymore, is what if this is a Switch Online device to where this is exclusive. This is the only way you can play Switch Online Nintendo DS and Switch Online Nintendo 3DS along with the rest of the library. So like regular Switch gets the NES, the Super Nintendo.
I don't like that.
The 64 and the Game Boy, right? And this device gets the rest of those, but it also gets DS and 3DS because of the form factor. And that's the only device that, like, if you wanted to play those games, you have to get that device. To where it still has onboard memory, it connects to your Nintendo account. It's not streaming. You download all the apps, or they all come pre-installed. Yeah. And that's the way that you can do Nintendo Switch Online, DS, and 3DS.
That just seems so shady.
It is, but like, how else can you do it?
Yeah, I don't know. Right?
You can't put both. I mean, if you put both screens on the same screen on a Switch, right? Some games use both of the screens as one big picture, so you can't cut that in half. You'd mess everybody up. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place at that point, unless they bring out hardware which turns something into a dual screen.
Man, yeah, I don't like that, but that's another that is a very possible thing that they could do. Seems like a lot of money to charge for something that could do that, though. That's the thing. Like, I
don't think it'll be very expensive.
But I mean, again, if it's the ability to be able to split in two, means it has to be two of whatever the console is. So I feel like it would have to be expensive, unless it's.
I think maybe it might be dockable. And then, you know how the Wii U had, like, it was a direct stream thing. Like, you got 1-to-1 latency with the TV and what was on the gamepad. Maybe you split it in half, dock one half, and then the other half is still your bottom screen.
So it's almost like you're still getting information off the other. So it still would be running off of like a Bluetooth connection or something.
Right.
So I see. I could see that. That makes sense. So it's just running off one. The other one is just like a wireless display.
At that point, yeah. But then when you put them back together, now it's a full unit again.
Yeah.
So one is really like the actual unit, and one is more of a I can't think of a better term, but just like a control, like a slave.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I could see that. That does make more sense. I could see that. Because then it wouldn't have to be, you're not buying two of something. You're just buying like the console, and then like, oh, here's this an external wireless display that you can hand to someone that also has, still a controller and stuff built into it. So
I think you do that, sell it for maybe like 150.
I mean, if it's smaller, based off the diagrams, this does look small. So if it is like a little smaller form factor too, and it's if it's essentially a smaller Switch, if it's a Switch Lite with two screens, then yeah, I think 150 or maybe 200 they get away with. If it's technically a Switch 2.
Yeah,
Switch 2 Lite or whatever.
I don't think this is a Switch 2. I think it's its own thing. I think it's a dedicated Nintendo Switch Online device.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it plays Switch games. I don't think it does anything else but that. That's why I think I'm like, okay, it'll only be 150. But if you dock it, then you might have to go up to 2 because you're gonna have to, buy the dock and all that jazz. And because that's the only reason that makes sense to me why it would split apart, is because you dock one half and you have the other half in your hand.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
And we'll hear for sure. But I just feel like,
somebody look. Nintendo is not stupid. They had to see some kind of potential in this. They make stupid decisions. They're not stupid people.
That's true.
But somebody had to see some kind of potential in this in order to care enough to patent it. So I feel like we're on the right track.
The time
I don't
and
know
money,
if we're exactly right.
I just love how Discord just used it a thumbs up with your head somehow.
Oh no, that was thanks Apple.
Thanks Apple.
Yeah, when you do that,
I saw a little thought bubble into the thumbs up. That's great. It's like, yeah, thumbs up to you too, Adrian. Hophead Ed just says, just make more DS consoles, which I agree.
I'm not opposed to that either. I would love a new reissued DS Lite or like a DSi or something, so I don't have to pay through the nose for a replacement unit, which most likely We are going to in a few years because this tech is almost 20 years old. So
crazy. All right. Well, this next news story comes to us from Kotaku, written by Ethan Gatch. GameStop keeps finding new ways to rip people off. That's right. Things have been bad at retail chain GameStop for a while now, but somehow they're about to get even worse. Employee benefits are on the chopping block heading into next year as a gaming retailer doubles down on cost cutting despite holding $1 billion in cash reserves thanks to its earlier meme stock explosion. The company's pro membership program for customer discounts continues to slash its perks too. And staff now report that they're being told to replace new warranted products like PS5s with used ones. GameStop employees are tracked on how many warranties they get customers to buy on everything from video game discs and controllers to brand new $500 consoles. While the company has always maintained it in its warranty terms that it has sole discretion over whether purchases are replaced with new, used, or refurbished merchandise, staff say new policies are requiring them to only offer used replacements and to send customers driving to other stores if they don't have the used replacement in stock. For example,
crazy.
You might buy a standard PS5 from GameStop for $500. The store will then try to upsell you to the 1-year replacement plan for an extra $55. If something then breaks or malfunctions with the console that's covered under the warranty, GameStop will give you a used PS5, which normally sells for $460 instead. I definitely ain't sending people in neighboring stores to waste their time, one person wrote over on GameStop's subreddit. It's such a disaster. Half the pre-owned we get is either broken or was in the home of a smoker. That's so true. GameStop's recently revamped pro memberships are getting worse, stating starting December 1st, based on an email seemingly from store operations specialist Brian Perez outlining new changes that was shared on the subreddit. Starting December 1st, the program's free monthly $5 coupon will no longer work for gift cards, digital goods. Welcome point benefits for new members will go down from 10,000 to 5,000 points, which is about $10 to $5. And renewing members will get nothing instead of the $5 that was previously offered. The annual price will remain $25 a month, annual price for a year, sorry. However, after it was raised from $15 earlier this year. Why are we changing the $5 monthly reward, reads the email? To improve the profitability of the pro program. So at least they're upfront with you. Well, I mean, at least they're upfront with you to improve the profitability. So right there, they're saying, we're not doing it for you. We're doing it because we want to make more profits off of it. So at least they're being honest with why they did it, because they're like, hey, we just want to make more money. Finally, GameStop is taking a hatchet to employee benefits. Staff members were informed yesterday that their healthcare costs would go up in 2024, and the company would be ditching benefits like basic life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, short and long-term disability, and matching 401k contributions. It's not clear how much the health plan cost increases from 2023, but a copy of the new benefits shared with Kotaku shows a $850 deductible plan for a single individual will cost $377 a month. The same plan for a family will cost $1,129. According to two current employees, this would double their annual health insurance cost. Woof.
$1,100? Most of GameStop employees don't even make $1,100 a month.
$1,100 a month for if you have a family and you want insurance for them all. Otherwise, it's $377 just for you, for a single person. So
that's crazy. They make $15 an hour.
Right? Absolutely insane. I don't know what's going on over there. I know what's going on over there. They just suck.
They got 3 years tops, dude.
Yeah. GameStop. I mean, for years we've been predicting that, like, all right, they only have a couple more years left, and somehow they keep hanging in there. But this is one of those things where, for real,
we see now how
it's like, if they're not even trying to hide it anymore too. Like the fact that the email to pro members is basically like, hey, we're trying to increase profitability for us. It's like, oh, okay, well, then in that case, you don't care about us. Like, we've been paying it, because I remember it used to be $15 a month. I didn't realize it went up to $25 a month for the pro membership. That's crazy. Like, that's absurd. You get nothing
for it. Who do they think they are? Sony?
Yeah, basically, like twice a year they have the pro day sales, which are always like mediocre at best. Like, you get barely any discount.
Ooh, 20% off. Thank you so much, GameStop.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're making probably hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these subscriptions, if not more. I don't know. GameStop. I kind of like. I can't remember the last time I bought anything from them. I've kind of I forget, what was it? They did something a couple years ago. It's been long enough to where I don't remember, but I remember being like, I'm never shopping from them again. Like they did something shady, and I've kind of stood by that. So I haven't shopped from them in a couple years because
it was probably when they try to pass off new games or use games as new because they open them.
I feel like it was more serious than that, like something with like employees and stuff like that as well. They tried to pull before. And I was kind of like, nah, I'm done. And I haven't touched them ever since then. And now I'm hearing this. I'm just like, yeah, they're garbage. Stop going to them, please. Like, don't go to GameStop anymore. You can buy things other places and either, for the same price, if not better prices most of the time. And other places have trade-in as well. Like you can trade in games at Best Buy and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to go to GameStop. Like another place you trade games into. Send them into GameFly through the mail and get a credit. I don't know.
Sell them on eBay. Give them to a friend.
Sell them on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know. You could probably make more money. GameStop's going to give you 50 cents for a copy of a game.
Oh, you just bought this brand new game yesterday? We can give you $13.50 for it.
Yeah, right. It's crazy how bad they rip people off. So
it's a company that run by chumps, man. Run by greedy chumps who clearly don't care about you, the customer, or their employee. I cannot get over that, dude. $400 a month for that.
Just a single person. And then if you have a family,
single person,
almost $1,200 a month for a family. It's like, oh my gosh, that's craziness. Yeah.
Not to mention, they already don't pay you anything. It's like what are those towns back in the day where if you work for the factory and you stay in the house, and you stay in the houses they provide, and all your money goes to them, and they give you like company dollars.
Oh yeah, I
factory towns, kind of like.
I don't remember the name of it, but yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. That's what it is. They're gonna open up GameStop City, and like you can live here, and you can shop here, and do all your things here. But
we'll give you some Starbucks.
We'll give you some Monopoly money, and you're good to go. Have fun.
That is insane. Yeah. $400 a month is like if you make like, $80,000-$90,000 a year. I could see $400 a month being feasible. Not great, but feasible. But yeah, these employees don't make anything really. $15, I think I saw. Like
they just expect them all to live off of ramen.
I guess
go live off ramen and live with your parents.
And then when you get high blood pressure from all that ramen going to the doctor, you can't do it. You got to pay $400 to be seen.
Craziness.
Crazy.
And I mean, even with a warranty thing, and the article does mention like, oh yeah, well technically they've always had the option to give you used equipment, and it did happen at times, but again, it was an option. And from what I can tell, because I've had a couple friends who have used the warranties and stuff, they've gotten new consoles in return. So it kind of depends on who you end up talking to, I guess, behind the counter, or whether they're having a good day or bad day. But it just seems crazy now that they're like, no, we're clamping down. You have to give them a used console. It's like, and exactly like the article says too, it's like, imagine getting a used console, and because GameStop, they claim to refurbish the consoles and clean them up.
No.
But
if I paid you for a new console and I got the warranty on a new console, I want a new console in return. If you cannot give me a new console, give me my money back and I'll go get a new console elsewhere.
Exactly. Imagine if like Apple, when you buy Apple Care and you smash your phone and they sent you like some nasty used phone. Like,
here's an iPhone 6 we had in the back. Somebody had in the drawer.
Yeah, right.
You can take that or you won't get anything. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it just seems crazy. But again, 3 more reasons not to shop at GameStop. They continue to just rip you off. They don't care about you, and also they don't care about
they tell you to your face they're ripping you off.
Exactly. Like, hey, we want to make more money, so we're not giving you any more coupons. Sorry. Stupid.
There's no reason. There's no reason to go.
Yeah, I'm really curious what their selling point is. Like, I almost want to go over their website now and be like, and see like, okay, what's your selling point for the pro membership? Because like what, for like the 2 sales you have a year that are barely anything. Like that doesn't seem like a great selling point. There has to be either something we're missing, or they really are just a garbage company like we suspect. So
they got because it you know what it would have been if somehow they were like, if you sign up for the pro membership, you know how games are like $69.99, we'll give them to you for like $10 off. Every game you buy, every new game you buy is $10 off. It's $59.99. Okay, now you got something to talk about, but they're not doing anything.
Nothing.
Because who used to do that? Best Buy used to do that. That Gamers Club they had.
Yeah,
when you signed up for that, you used to get games for cheaper.
Yep. Yeah, new games for cheaper. Because that's the thing with GameStop, as far as I know, has never really given discounts on new games. It's always been used stuff. But yeah, Best Buy, Gamers Club isn't the same as it used to be either.
No, it's gone, but it was too good for this world. It was too good for this world.
But I mean, that was amazing what they were doing for a while. I was like, oh, geez. Like, it was $10.
It was the movie pass
of
of games.
Exactly. Oh, so good. Oh, well, we'll see. Maybe in a couple more years, GameStop will be no more. That's my hope. I know we usually say we don't hope the worst for games and people and things, but in this case...
No, I do for people taking advantage of people. Yeah, you can get out.
In this case,
you can get out.
The door's over there. All right. This last news story we got here is a rumor from Game Rant. Parth Magaria writes, God of War Ragnarok half sequel getting revealed soon. According to a new rumor, a half sequel to God of War Ragnarok will get revealed by the end of this year. God of War Ragnarok received critical acclaim upon its launch in 2022, as it has an extremely high score of 94 on Metacritic. God of War Ragnarok was also a commercial success, selling over 11 million copies within the first few months of its launch. It originally sold an already impressive 5.1 million copies in its debut week, setting a new sales record for the franchise. Additionally, God of War Ragnarok won various awards. Okay, we get it. As reported by Insider Gaming and originally leaked by someone, Area Hugones. The announcement of God of War Ragnarok's DLC will be made by the end of 2023, with the Game Awards being the most likely event for this reveal. According to the leak, this God of War Ragnarok expansion will be a standalone title like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, but not much else is known about the DLC at the moment. Fans should note that every leak or rumor should be taken with a grain of salt, and they should wait for Sony to officially reveal the game. Rumors about a God of War Ragnarok getting an expansion have been circulating for a few months, as this information was leaked by The Snitch in August. According to The Snitch, God of War Ragnarok's DLC was already 60% done back then, so it looks like the development time has been working on it for some time. A reveal at the Game Awards seems likely, as Sony announced new titles at this show in the past. Last year, Sony revealed Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC at the Game Awards, with Death Stranding 2 also getting announced at the event. So assuming God of War Ragnarok expansion will get revealed this year, the Game Awards is probably the best place to showcase it. It'll be interesting to see if Kratos shows up in the DLC, but some fans expect it to be centered around Atreus, while gamers get to play as Atreus in God of War Ragnarok. His moveset is fairly limited, so a standalone expansion would allow the developers to give him a more extensive skill tree. I have to disagree with that. I thought his combat was actually very expansive, honestly, for what he was doing, but I think for where the story leaves off, it makes the most sense to do a DLC on him. That's my opinion.
I think I'm going to be a little contrarian here. I think it's going to be about Thrud. The way that they left her story off. Okay. I think it could. I think it could be Thrud and Kratos, and somehow she needs his help for something, or I don't know what it could be. Maybe they have that whole thing about like him helping her come to terms with her father's death, because they were similar. Him and Thor, right. Just kind of helping her through that. So I don't know. I think it could be about Thrud, and then her combat is with the hammer, and her coming into her own, and him helping her with that. So I could see it.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I mean,
she technically would. I know she wants to be a Valkyrie, but she could be their God of War.
Yeah. It depends on what the purpose of this quote unquote DLC is. I think if it's actually just DLC and more of like, hey, here's a side story that you can play off of, you know, kind of expands the story a little bit, but it's not like a full on game or anything like that. I could see that. If this is like a Miles Morales type thing, or like they said, Lost Legacy, where it is a side story, but it's like, it's like a full-fledged side story, if that makes sense. Like Miles Morales was still very much a full game. Lost Legacy was very much a full game. That's where I lean towards it being more like, oh no, this will probably be more like, could probably follow Atreus and what's her name, because they're together.
Angrboda.
Angrboda, yeah. I could see that, but because I to me it seems like, man, yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna kind of start moving away from some with the main story. Obviously, moving away from some Norse. They already said they're done with Norse mythology with the main story. So that's what my thought. So if it ends up being more like a Miles Morales Lost Legacy. It's called Lost Legacy, right? Not Last Legacy. Lost Legacy. I think it's Atreus and Angrboda. Otherwise, I could see that Thrud story being like more like a smaller, like, oh, it's just like a 3 to 4 hour experience or something, instead of a 8 to 10 or whatever it is.
Right.
But I don't know.
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, either way, I'm down. I just think it would be cool to subvert expectations and do something like that.
Totally. I like your point there too. Like, I mean, the name of the game is God of War, and they need a good, you know, the Norse mythology now, the Norse world does not have a God of War. So who better than to bring up Thrud, you know, because I mean, previously the story was like Kratos is a God of War and he kills other gods of war and he just becomes a God of war. Like he takes everyone's place. But his character is so different in these stories. He's not the selfish, self-centered God person he was before as much. So I feel like, yeah, him coming alongside through and being like, oh, he's setting someone up, that would go along with his character development of him being more like gentle in a sense, you know, and like caring more about others and whatnot. But
well, that's the other thing though, is did Thrud want to be a Valkyrie, or did she want to take Tyr's place? Because Tyr, well, I guess the game's been out a while now, because Tyr is technically dead, right? So she would need to take Tyr's place,
right?
Yeah. I don't know. That's for Santa Monica to figure out, not me. So
I mean, in this story, she definitely her dream was to become a Valkyrie, right? But again, like, I mean, she could. Why not do both? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they could do whatever they want. She could be a Valkyrie that is the God of War, you know,
right?
Like that, the head Valkyrie or whatever. Although I guess her mom technically is still alive, right? Or no, I can't remember.
Dun dun dun. She's still alive.
Okay, I was like, I can't really remember what happened to her mom. Actually,
you say bye to him at the end. That's
true. They come around and they're kind of like, oh yeah, we're all cool now. Once freaking I guess spoilers for Ragnarok, which I mean, come on, it came out last year as a big game. You can play it after Thor, because Thor is her father, Thrud's father. After he's killed, they're kind of like, yeah, he was an asshole. We didn't really like him that much either.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, he was my husband and my dad, but he was pretty terrible.
Was trying to turn it around. He didn't get the chance to. He was almost there up until Odin got involved and killed him. I really think he was getting ready to turn a corner after, you know, Kratos kind of talked him off the ledge. But
yeah,
now we'll never get to see that. So,
oh boy. All right. Well, I believe that is it for the nerdy news. Let's see if you have anything else to add to Ragnarok.
Not to Ragnarok, but I do have a not a 0.5 story, but just like a little side thing.
Okay.
There has been a article or a tweet online. I guess somebody was able to talk to Insomniac, and they have mentioned or confirmed that moving forward in the Spider-Man series, that they are going to focus on Miles being Spider-Man.
Yes.
Or so being the titular Spider-Man in the series going forward. I unfortunately did not get to play Spider-Man 2, but I did watch somebody play Spider-Man 2, so I do know the story. If you don't want me to tell you what's going on, Garrett, I can stop. But we'll just say that
I'm usually not super sensitive to spoilers, so I could care. I don't really care, but yeah, I guess for listeners, if Adrian's about to say something,
alert for listeners,
skip ahead like 2 minutes, and you'll probably be in the middle of our ad section or something.
Huge spoiler alert for not huge, but I mean, come on, it's a Spider-Man game. You know everything was going to be hunky dory in the end. So at the end, Miles comes into his own. Well, I mean, he's already come into his own, but like he has a conversation with Peter, who is trying to start up a foundation, and he wants to be a better partner to MJ. And they have a conversation, and Miles ends up saying, I got it, Peter. I can be Spider-Man now. You can go and take a break. You've been Spider-Man for 10 years. But just know that there may come a time when I need to call on you, because maybe something gets too big for me to handle. And Pete's like, don't even worry about it. I got your back. But for now, yeah, I'm going to be here kicking it with MJ. So that was kind of like the passing the torch in a sense to Miles being the head honcho now, even though they were both on an even playing field. They both call each other Spider-Man because Miles is Spider-Man. We're not going to go into this because there's a lot of people on the internet who say, well, Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man. Well, why does Peter call him Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Why do people call him Spider-Man?
Right.
What are we talking about? Why am I doing the Spider-Man hand? Because I'm upset. Because people are trying to discredit Miles as not being Spider-Man when he's clearly Spider-Man. If he wasn't Spider-Man, Peter wouldn't call him Spider-Man.
I mean, literally Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man.
It's called Spider-Man. The comic says Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The game is Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Miles Morales has always been Spider-Man.
He's always been Spider-Man. And then people always go, well, Peter was Spider-Man. Peter was Spider-Man first. No, he wasn't. Technically, if we're going in Spider canon, Spider-Man Noir was Spider-Man way before him because he was Spider-Man back way in the 30s and 40s. That was before Pete was even born. So there have been Spider-Man before Peter Parker. So Peter Parker is the Spider-Man we know, but he's not the Spider-Man. There is no the Spider-Man. There's just Spider people,
right,
who take place in different times, parts of the timeline. So to sit here and say, well, Peter Parker is the Spider-Man. No, he's not. He's a Spider-Man, just like Miles is a Spider-Man, but they're both Spider-Man. So don't discredit Miles like that. I hold Miles on the same pedestal that I do Peter, that I do any of the other Spider people. They are all Spider-Man. Okay?
100%.
Just want to make sure that that's where we all stand on this subject.
That's the official Super Gamer Boy stance, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. But people are upset about that, mostly because I don't want to put any assumptions on certain groups of people. But they feel strongly that Miles is not Spider-Man, and they don't like that Miles is taking over for Peter because they're Peter fans. But you'd have to be an absolute maniac to think that Peter is not going to be in the third game in some Spider-Man capacity. Like, what are we doing? He's not dead. He's not sick.
Yeah,
there's going to be a threat that's going to be too big for Miles, and he's going to have to call Pete, even if it's in like the last beat of the story. Maybe Pete will swing in, but he's going to be talking to Peter all throughout the game. And Peter will probably be doing he'll be his new guy in the chair along with Genki, getting advice, telling him what he would do in the situation as Spider-Man, things like that. So, I don't know where it's fine. Miles is a great Spider-Man. He ends up actually saving Peter a lot in the second game. From what I watched, and but
even just in the trailers, you see that too. Like, it's very the trailers are very clear. Like, oh, Peter's has Venom. He has the symbiote. He has a symbiote, I should say. So it's like he's going to need some saving from Miles, I'm sure. So it's like not a surprise, even just from the trailer. Like, oh, obviously Miles is going to be carrying this one pretty heavily because Peter has some issues right now. He's a little busy, with some problems. He's going to need some help.
Yeah. So I'm all about the change. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next Spider-Man. We're probably not going to see it for some time.
Yeah.
But at least we got that confirmation that Miles is going to be the titular Spider-Man. He's going to be the one on the box. You know, now here's what I would do if I'm Insomniac. You know how Peter was the only one on the first box,
right?
Then they were both on Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Now on Spider-Man 3, it needs to be just Miles. To hammer home the fact that is Spider-Man in this game.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I would do anyway.
And do it in the same theme because Miles is on the front of the Miles Morales box, but if you notice if I'm remembering correctly, the Spider-Man games, the actual numbered games, always have a red in the back. Like it looks like part of the suit is in the background, like the red web or whatever.
Right.
With the Spider-Man or Spider-Men in front of it, but where Miles Morales has like a darker black. If I remember, it's even like, isn't it like a silhouette almost of the city, or maybe it's just darker, blurry, or something like that. But yeah, I think you're 100% right. Like kind of like keep that same theme where it's like the red suit in the background up close, and then boom, Miles Morales. Like
right.
Here we are.
Yeah. Quick question, or just a fun aside, since we got a little time.
Yeah.
So we know Spider-Man just got done, right? And then, sorry, give me a second.
Oh, no worries.
I don't know who that number is. Anyway, so Spider-Man just got finished in 2023. Okay. I say we don't expect to see Wolverine until 2025, right? I think that's fair. Do you think Spider-Man 3 is going to be a PS6 launch title? Because I think it is, because we're expecting PS6 in 2028. Can you imagine the numbers that PS6 would do if Spider-Man was a launch title for it?
I think that would bode well for them. That would be really smart of them to do. I almost think that won't happen though, only because like the first Spider-Man game came out at the tail end of the PS4. Like they're not afraid with that franchise to release it at the end of a generation and then sell a re-release that's slightly remastered for the next console. Like that's my only worry is we've already seen with this exact franchise that they did that, but on PS4 and then came out with the Spider-Man remastered like a year or two later. So that's my only concern. I think that would be genius. Like launch with the Spider-Man 3 and even have like a themed console and everything. Like,
and it's not cross-gen. You have to buy a PS6 to play Spider-Man 3. You need to be able to move those units, right? That's what I would do if I'm I can't say Jim Ryan because he technically don't run the show anymore.
If
I headed up
month
PlayStation
and a half and he's out.
Right. If I headed up PlayStation, I would say, yo, Insomniac, you need to be making the next game, the next Spider-Man game for PS6 hardware. Here's what it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right? Focus only on PS6. This is going to be a PS6 launch title. Yeah, like you said, I don't know do you do a special edition right out the gate, though?
Maybe not. Maybe you just have the base one. But I just, like, that's the fun thing with all the Spider-Man games that have come out. They've always had like some special edition, either a console or like the PS5 here had like the plates for Spider-Man 2 and stuff like that. Right. So I feel like it would be weird to not have it for Spider-Man 3. But
also you don't want people to think that the initial version of the console is a Spider-Man console. That's the hard part.
Yeah, the marketing on that would be tricky. Yeah, maybe that's another reason why it wouldn't be a launch title, because again, like people who doesn't want a freaking Spider-Man PlayStation? Like that's
which
so
I waited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like that's like I feel like it would almost be like another PS. Although, but then again, do you want 2 sets of PlayStation plates for your PS5? Like they already have some for PS2. Like why come out with new ones for Spider-Man 3? Like so, I don't know. Yeah, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have any special edition stuff. Maybe a controller. Yeah. They always do a controller, but maybe no plates this time, no console, just a controller. And yeah,
I don't think PS6 will have plates.
Right. So, yeah, I could see that, but again, I'm hesitant just because of history with Spider-Man so far. The franchise, like that's how the original one was, like a PS4, and then they just remastered it for PS5. Just any way to make that extra money, you know. That's my worry.
I think in business terms, that definitely is that's the number one way to move units, dude. Spider-Man is the most popular hero on Earth. People
Totally.
will absolutely buy a console to play Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
So yeah,
cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up there, and
yeah. No, thanks.
let
Thanks.
people know what's going on.
I saw that over the weekend, and I don't know, just totally missed that with putting the show notes together. So I'm glad you brought it up, because it's definitely big news right now. Like, everyone's kind of freaking out about it right now, and
it's taking every fiber of my being to not be on Twitter and like reply to everybody I see that has a terrible take. Because I know I'm just going to go down that rabbit hole and I'm never going to be able to come back out. So it's just no point.
And like, no one has a good a
good reason.
There's no good reason for it other than just.
I even saw a person that was like, well, Peter to me is Spider-Man. And I'm like, that's cool. To you, he's Spider-Man. Right? But that doesn't mean Miles isn't Spider-Man. You can prefer Peter to Miles.
Exactly.
That's fine. But that doesn't mean Miles isn't Spider-Man. He's not your Spider-Man per se. He's not your flavor of Spider-Man, but he is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then
that's like saying my bagel isn't everything bagel and no other bagel exists. It's
right.
Like, what? Like, no, like that's not how it works.
That's not how this works.
They're all still bagels, you know?
Like, I totally understand. People grew up with Peter. You know, Peter is their spot. They're you know, their guy. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't other Spider-Men. So Spider people, you know, because there's Spider Pig, Spider Gwen, Spider Car, Spider beings.
Yeah, what makes the argument even more wild is the fact that we've had two Spider-Verse movies, and someone still tries to make the argument like, they're not Spider-Man. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we've had
so none of the other thousands of spider beings are not spider people. Like, what are we
in the last like 4 years or whatever, we've been introduced to like hundreds and thousands of different Spider-Men and women and people and things, and all of a sudden now you're gonna put your foot down like, no, this has to stop.
Right?
Like, what are you talking about?
Making me look at you kind of funny, and I don't want to look at you kind of funny. Okay, I don't want to look at you weird.
Stupid. Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
And with that, go play Spider-Man 2. And
please do. It's a fantastic game from what I saw. I do still want to buy it and play it at some point, but
I want to get it as well.
There was no way.
Traveling. I've been in New York for a couple of weeks, and so I'm like, I know on my PS5 I could stream it, but I'm like, that's no good. I don't want to stream it over the internet. I want to play it on my PS5, so I'll wait. And then, hopefully we can get our hands on it and actually talk about our takes here on the show. But
there was no way I was going to make it without getting spoiled. So I said, well, let me just go ahead and sit down and watch it. So
might as well just watch a playthrough of it. All right. I think it's now time to go to our Patreon ad.
Let's do it.
This is a part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right. $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, as well as previous seasons of Super Gamer Book Club or our current Patreon exclusive show, Super Later Boys. That's right. You can only get that through Patreon. Some of the other shows, season 2 of Super Gamer Book Club, you can get it other places, but season 1 only on Patreon. Super Later Boys only on Patreon. So if you want that awesome content, and again to get everything else early and ad free, such as this show, if you're missing the recording on Monday as we live stream this, then you can watch it today. You don't have to wait until Wednesday when everyone else gets it. We have the $1 tier. We got the $5 tier where you get the show notes ahead of time too. So that means Sunday when I'm putting those show notes together, what we're going to be talking about, news stories, listener questions, whatnot. You can leave your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, anything you want on that show notes. And I'll share it here on the air. So if you have a thought about a game we've been playing or one of the news stories, or you have an answer for one of the listener questions, leave it on there. We'll read your take right here live on the show. Yeah, we appreciate the community here who likes to get involved. It's a lot of fun. So think about checking that out. $5 a month, $10 a month. You get the shout outs at the top of each and every episode alongside our Super Gamer sponsors. And then the top dog tier, $15 a month. You can be a Super Gamer producer, Patreon producer, where you get to pitch us segments on shows, give us ideas for things. You play alongside us, be a guest on shows. There's just a lot more opportunities. Generally, people who are supporting us over there, they kind of are on. It's like the inner circle of the community, and we have some awesome folks that we've gotten to be good friends with and had some fun with. So if you want to be up there, top dog tier, think about supporting us at that $15 Patreon producer level. We'd very much appreciate it. Last but not least, you can also subscribe to us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys. You can support us there completely free. That's right. It doesn't cost you any money, especially if you have, I guess only if you have an Amazon Prime account, which who doesn't? Everyone has Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to your Twitch account. And not only do you get access to free games like every few weeks or maybe once a month. I don't remember how often it happens, but you get access to free games and free in-game currencies for League of Legends, all sorts of other stuff. You get a lot of perks for yourself, but you also get a free subscription to a channel called a Prime Gaming subscription. You can put that on any channel you want each and every month. You do have to remember to do it every month. It does not auto-renew like a typical Twitch subscription there. So remember to renew that if you haven't. And we'd love for you to use it on us. Cost you $0. We get $5. It's the equivalent to a $5, your standard tier 1 sub. So we'd appreciate that. And you would also, not only do you get access to all those Prime Gaming perks, but you get access when you subscribe to our channel, specifically access to our Twitch emotes that are exclusive to Super Gamer Boys. So think about supporting us over there. We'd appreciate that. I believe that's it. So without further ado, let's get back into the show here. All right. That was perfect timing, Adrian. I literally just said, and let's get back to the show, and then you put your headphones on. So oh, you're muted. You unfortunately I can't hear you.
Oh, I was gonna say I have superhuman hearing. I was listening through my headphones. I was waiting for you to say, let's get back.
All right, I see. Okay.
Production.
Superhuman.
I got a production mind.
Are you Spider-Man?
What are you doing? Trying to compromise me?
I mean, I've never seen you and Spider-Man in the same place, so I have my suspicions.
Yeah, well, it's gonna take a whole lot of web to get me swinging. So,
all right, Adrian, it's been a couple weeks, so I need to ask you what you've been playing.
Well, I am proud to say that I have 100% completed Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yes. I have gotten every Wonder Seed. I've done every challenge. I've gotten every collectible. I've done it all. This is, oh man, I don't know what it was. I couldn't stop playing this game. It is just, man, it is so freaking good, dude. Like, I've heard a lot of discussions, and I would love to come back and revisit this with myself after a while. I've heard a lot of people that say it's a very good game. It's a very good game, but it's not as good as Mario World and Mario 3. And I don't agree. I think it stands shoulder to shoulder with Mario World and Mario 3 as far as 2D Mario games, dude. I could not, like, I am so envious of people whose first Super Mario Brothers game is Wonder, because it's such a unique, like, take on what the Super Mario Brothers games are. Like, I do feel like this is as big of a not quality. I don't want to say quality jump, because they're all quality, the games that people usually compare, but like, as far as just the whole ethos of what a Super Mario Brothers game is, how much of a departure it was from like 3 to World, I think is as big of a departure from World to this.
Wow.
I think they all stand on their own pillars to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this game's a masterpiece. I do. I really do. I would love to come back to it in a year. I have literally no reason unless somebody was like, hey, do you have that new Mario game? Sure, let's play it. But I, as a player, because I've done everything, I don't have a reason to come back to it. But I'd love to come back in like a year and see if I feel the same.
Yeah.
But I would wager that I will. With how good this game is. I know it's not your thing because you're not a 2D platformer guy, but
yeah,
I mean, I am, and it's like, man.
Yeah, and like what I said before, like a couple weeks ago, I did really enjoy the game. Like, it's a beautiful game. The animation's amazing. The soundtrack's amazing. The characters are fun. The story is fun. Even the gameplay is fun. But for me, it wasn't a game that I was like, oh, I need to beat. I mean, let alone 100% like what you did, which is crazy. For me, it was just kind of like, oh, this is a really awesome Mario game. And even from what I played, the first couple worlds, like, I think I would agree. Like, it does, even in what little I've played, it's very obvious, like, oh no, this stands up to the likes of Super Mario World and whatnot. But yeah, for me, again, it come down to like, okay, like I've played a couple worlds and I just, not necessarily the platformer guy that I just feel like I need to grind this out. I'm like, I got other things I am interested in. You know, I play a little Armored Core 6 and then some other things I'll talk about here in a minute. But but yeah, no, Super Mario Wonder is amazing. Actually, we just tried the multiplayer out the other night for the first time with my family here. So it was me and Trudy and my oldest Shep and then my mom. We just finished playing some Mario Kart, and it must have been Saturday because it was right before the time change. So we were trying to keep the kids up as late as possible. Be like, let's keep them up late so they sleep in. Because everyone's like, oh, it's fall back. You get an extra hour sleep. And it's like, not when you
No, you don't understand. Yeah,
because they don't understand how clocks work. So instead of waking up at 5:30, now they're waking up at 4:30. Like, no, that's not like, keep them up as late as possible. So we did some Mario Kart, and then I was like, hey, let's just try this out. So we did the 4-player jumping around, and it was a lot of fun. It was chaotic, as is multiplayer Mario is, but it was such a blast. And like, they were all playing as Yoshis because you can't die with the Yoshis and whatnot.
Or Nabbit.
And yeah, I think Shep was Nabbit, and Trudy and my mom were different Yoshis and whatnot. But like, that was so much fun. And the fact that they have the ability, like, oh yeah, they don't die. So it could be an easy level
too, so you can't just run into people and interrupt the jump or something like that.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, we were able to play through like 4 or 5 levels and like had a blast. It was so much fun. Just like, oh yeah, and it wasn't stressful. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta help Shep with his controller and get through here. It's like, no, I just let him run, and if he goes off the screen, they turn into a bubble. You go pop them, bring them back. Like, oh man, it was so good. And the Wonder Seed aspect of it is just phenomenal. Like, both single player and even a multiplayer is like almost made it it made it a little I don't know, it just added a little extra challenge, because even though you're technically working together, it's just so chaotic. It's like, oh wow, this is so crazy, trying to finish like solve these Wonder Seeds, everyone jumping around, and it almost became like a race, like, all right, who's gonna get it first? Not that it matters, like, you all win no matter what, but it's like, all right, who's gonna get that Wonder Seed first? Oh man, it was a lot of fun. That's a good game.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. But yeah, have you been playing anything else, or has that kind of been the main? I mean, I imagine 100%ing it took a bit of time.
Yeah, it did. It took a little bit of time. But on the side, I actually did something that I can't believe I haven't done before. The Mario and Luigi games, they have re-releases on 3DS, which I bought all of and never played. So I've been going through the re-release of Superstar Saga, which is the first game in the series, and I'm having a great time with it. It really does feel like a DX version of it, like it's a it's a full-on remake. They redid the visuals, they redid the soundtrack.
Wow.
The heart of the game is still there. The script is intact, the humor is intact, but it just feels like a redone for a current audience and quality of life updates to the game. I don't know why these weren't talked about more. I mean, I guess because they came out at the time when Switch was getting ready to come out, so not too many people were focused on 3DS.
Right.
But I'm having a great time with it. I feel like it's if somebody had never played the original and they just played this, you would get pretty much the same experience that I got playing the original game. So I'm having a great time with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And it's on 3DS, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. I feel like I might have that on my 3DS. I think I was able to pick that up before everything went down. So
yeah, if you've never played a Mario and Luigi, I think that's a great place to start.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, for myself, I know I'm just gonna get laughed at, ridiculed, made fun of as usual.
I'm ready.
But I played and beat Metal Gear Solid. Part of the Master Collection, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 that came out on the 24th, I think it was. I was able to get up right before, literally, like we woke up and we're like, all right, we're leaving for the airport in 20 minutes. I'm like, let me get my Steam Deck. And I'm installing games while I'm brushing my teeth and waking the kids up and getting ready to go to the airport. So that way on the plane I could play, because a lot of times games come out, because we're on the West Coast, 9 p.m. Now with Metal Gear, it didn't unlock until midnight, and I wasn't staying. We had to wake up so early in the morning for our flight. I'm like, I'm not staying up till midnight to download a stupid game. I'll just do it in the morning when our alarm goes off at 4 in the morning or whatever. But yeah, so I am up installing these games. And boy, oh boy, was it an absolute disaster. I installed the games and then I'm like, oh, there's all these cool options. Like, shoot, we need to get going to the airport, but why are they all grayed out? That's weird. I told it to download. Why didn't it download? Well, I was like, I'll just figure it out when I get to the airport. So we got to the airport and I get on the airport Wi-Fi, which is crappy. And it's saying you have to download these DLC packs. So when you download the game, it comes with Metal Gear Solid 1, but it does not come. So in the collection, Metal Gear Solid 1 comes with Metal Gear Solid 1, or Metal Gear Solid. It comes with Metal Gear Solid VR missions, comes with special missions, which is like a European release, and then it comes with Integral, which is like a Japanese/PC release that came out. But those last 3 you have to download as DLC. But at the time, and I think still now, Steam does not have a Steam page for the DLC. So in the game, and this is purely a Steam issue. I guess on PS5, everywhere else, things are working all right. But on Steam and on Steam Deck, you click on the icon, it's grayed out, and it says, oh, you need to download this. Do you want to go to the store page? You hit yes. It just takes you to the homepage of Steam. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I had to go through some backend proton.db, the database, and find the code for the Steam code for the game, and then find the DLC for the game.
Oh my
and
God.
Go to the desktop mode on my Steam Deck and all this stuff. And I guess, it was the same issue on PC as well. So it's whether you're on PC or Steam Deck, it wasn't just a Steam Deck issue.
I'm getting upset just hearing you talk about having to do this.
So literally, the clock is ticking down, 2 minutes till we're boarding the plane. I'm like, please just finish downloading this stuff. And then the same thing with the, so it's all separate apps. It's not one app for everything. It's one app for Metal Gear Solid 1, another app for Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and then a 4th app for the bonus content. Bonus content, I jump in there and I'm like, ooh, what is there? Oh, it has the 2 graphic novels. It has the graphic novel for Metal Gear Solid 1, the digital graphic novel, and for Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm like, sweet. Wait, I have to download these as well? Wait, there's no store page? Same thing. So I downloaded them. It was so busted. So I got
Why is it not one big download? What?
I don't know. I got everything finally downloaded after going through, again, all the Proton database back-end stuff, figuring out. I get on the plane and I go to, I just want to sit. I don't feel like playing a game this instant. I just want to watch the digital graphic novel. That'll be fun. I go to launch it. Does not launch on Steam Deck. Doesn't even attempt to start. I'm like, that's weird. I go to 2, doesn't work, doesn't start. I go to the soundtrack to listen, because there's just a music player, and listen to the soundtracks from the games. It says it starts playing, no sound comes out, does not play the music. Like, what is happening? What is this game? So I fired up Metal Gear Solid 1. I hadn't had a chance to test any of this, obviously, because I literally woke up with the main goal of just getting on a flight that morning. Like, this was a secondary objective, getting Metal Gear. But I was like, please, Lord, just let one of these things work. Metal Gear Solid did fire up as well, all the versions. So 1, integral, VR missions, everything. But I went to fire up 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 does not work on Steam Deck specifically. It works on PC, not on Steam Deck. Metal Gear Solid 3 does not work on Steam Deck. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. What is happening? Since then, I have gotten Metal Gear Solid. So Metal Gear Solid 1, after all the downloads, works perfectly. That game, I played start to finish, finished the game, beat the game, posted it on the Discord. Great. A lot of people are complaining.
I want to throw a challenge flag on that. They didn't do anything to change it.
No, it's just an emulation of the original. But I mean, that's at this point, at this point, I'm kind of okay with it, just because that was the easiest to get working, honestly. And you don't have to buy them all together. You don't have to buy the bundle. You can buy them all separately. So if I wanted, I could have just spent $10 and bought Metal Gear Solid 1. I didn't have to spend $60 or $70 to buy the whole collection. I could have spent like $10 for this one game. I know people are going to hate on me. They're like, you're defending Konami. Like, no, not at all. Like, very obviously, I was frustrated and this was trash. And like, they should have done more with this launch and even with the games. But just being able to play this game without having to figure out an emulator. Granted, I already have an emulator. I already figured out. But for other people, I'm just talking for like, I have so many friends who have PCs and have Steam who are like, I can't be bothered to set up an emulator. How do I play this game? And I'm like, you got to set up an emulator. Sorry. Now I can be like, well, technically Metal Gear Solid 1 does run on PC, on Steam, and it works great. So go get it there. It's not running at 4K, but at least it's running. And honestly, at least on the Steam Deck, it looked great. People were complaining on other places about the resolution. And
that's probably because they have like a 15K monitor.
Yeah, but I'm like, on the Steam Deck, I'm like, holy crap, like this looks way better than the PlayStation version did to me. Like, I don't know. Right. And I was getting sick. Like, people were on, I saw some reviews even saying like, it wasn't running at a full frame rate. It's maybe only like 50 or 55 or something weird. I'm like, no, mine was definitely
the original never ran at 60. It ran at 30.
It was, from what I understand, it was running, like the refresh rate was 60, but the frame rate was 30, if that makes sense.
On PS1? I always remember it being 30.
Well, again, the frame rate was 30, but the refresh rate, I think, was 60.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So, but yeah, on Steam Deck, it seemed to be running. Everything was running fine. So, like, yeah, the game, it was running how the original does. But yeah, eventually, I did find a fix for 2 and 3. So the fix is wild. Is basically this is purely a Steam Deck issue.
You got to take your Steam Deck apart, take out the SSD, put it
some
back
bubble gum in there. No, you have to find a Windows install of the game, which fortunately I had a laptop with me. So I installed 2 and 3 on my laptop. And then there's a file when you go up into your C drive, you go into programs, you go to Steam, you go to the install folder for those 2 games. And there's a specific file that you have to copy and paste over to your Steam Deck. So I emailed it to myself, downloaded it on my Steam Deck, copied it in the folder I need to go to. And it works perfectly now, like no issues. So I've started, and since I finished 1, I've started playing 2. I guess I haven't played 3 yet, but 2 is working fine. I've not had issues with 2 now since doing that weird workaround. But yeah, the frustration, it's just like, okay, so if you don't have a PC, you can't get 2 and 3 working on your Steam Deck. Like, you're screwed. And if you're on the Steam Deck, you also don't have access to any of the bonus content. Like, you can only use that on a PC. I fired up the bonus content on my laptop and it works fine. I can listen to the soundtrack. I can watch the digital graphic novels. But so most of these issues that I'm having currently are purely Steam Deck issues. But initially, on that first day, it was just a Steam issue in general. So overall, Konami dropped the ball. This launch was horrendous. I think on Switch it was having issues, and I feel like there was another, I can't remember if it's Xbox or PC or PlayStation, but there were issues other places, but they quickly patched it out. Steam, they've been dragging their feet, and they have not been putting patches out, and that's absolutely infuriating and not okay. So,
well, it would be Konami that needs to put the patches out, not Steam, right?
Right, yeah. So this is 100% on Konami. All of this is on Konami, all the issues that are happening. So I'm happy that these things exist. As far as I know, on console, everything is up and up now. So they've patched consoles, PS5, Xbox, Switch. So if you have any of those three consoles, go play them over there. They're great. If you're on PC and you're playing on a computer, you should be fine. No issues. They've patched everything out on PC. But if you have a Steam Deck, steer clear, which is unfortunate because I was so like, that's why I bought this through Steam, because I'm like, oh, I want to have this on the go and have better performance than the Switch version, because the Switch version was bad from what I've heard as far as like frame rate stuff.
How bad the frame rate for 2 and 3 is on Switch. That is horrendous. Crazy. Those games should be running 60 no problem. 2 and 3 should be running 60 no problem.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what I'd love to hear, because I think it would just make me more upset. Because they try to use some kind of marketing talk to be like, well, this is why we can't do this. Bro, they're PS2 games. What are we talking about?
Game. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
You just got Red Dead working on there. You have freaking Witcher 3 on there. Like Skyrim.
3, both Dooms.
Get out of
Nier
here.
Automata. Come on, man.
Yeah, so I was excited to have a portable version of Metal Gears without having to deal with emulation stuff. And now I'm realizing like, oh, it's not the case for now. Again, down the road, they could patch it, and I hope they do. But at the moment, so if you have an actual PC or any of the consoles other than Switch, if you have an Xbox or PlayStation, Xbox, PlayStation, or a PC, you're fine. If you have a Switch or Steam Deck, steer clear for now, which is sad. But
that's so upsetting, dude. You would think Konami would have more reverence for like one of the major IP that kept them on the map, right?
Right.
But I don't know. Do they really hate Kojima that much? Like, do you think that like this project was like, there's some guy at Konami that's like, oh, you're doing something with Metal Gear? We'll give you like a ham sandwich to get it done. We don't, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. There are some cool inclusions in the game. So each game has its own. It's called a master book. And so it gives you like all the deep dive, like behind the scenes, walk through stuff, tips, tricks. It's kind of like it's a mix between a concept art book and a strategy guide and a lore guide as well for each of the games. And that is super cool to be able to be like read in-depth profiles on each of these characters, the villains, the worlds, what's going on in the world, actual timelines from like they have the official top to bottom timeline of all the Metal Gear games and stuff. Like the amount of that you get is cool. And every game has the full official like script. Like it's literally like the script that they hand the voice actors. And you can read the whole screenplay. It's called the whole screenplay from start to finish of the game. And there's like codec calls that didn't make it in the game that you can read. And like, there's all sorts of like the secret stuff, all like digital booklets of this stuff. And that is sick. So if you're like a super diehard Metal Gear nerd like me, like there's some cool stuff and that stuff does work. Like that stuff is playable. All like the super nerdy lore, crazy stuff that most people don't know or care about. That is pretty cool. But the actual games themselves, it's like, what were you doing? Like that's the bread and butter. Like have the okay, so yeah, you're making your meal like meat and potatoes here. Like they got the potatoes are perfect, but it's like the meat, the steak is just like burnt to a crisp or whatever, or undercooked. I guess technically, to use the metaphor correctly, this is all undercooked, underbaked. It is raw. It's bleeding in the middle. It's like, just leave it on the grill a little longer. This needs a little more time to cook.
A lot more time.
This is not good. So it's unfortunate.
It deserved wait. You know what? They fumbled this like Rockstar fumbled the GTA collection.
Oh, 100%. I would agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know what.
They did the bare minimum, and it's sad because these games deserve so much more. And well, they're not going to get it at least anytime soon.
I guess.
I mean,
I don't know. I feel like, okay, if you don't want to do it because it's a Kojima project, why don't you tap Kojima Productions to do it then?
But that doesn't even make any sense because then they're remaking 3 right now. Like they just did you see the footage they released last week? Xbox had that showcase and they showed off the pre-alpha Unreal Engine 5 footage.
Yeah,
and it
but
looks
Kojima's not
gorgeous.
doing that.
What's that?
Kojima Productions is not doing that though. That's
I know,
what I'm
but
saying.
it's still like.
Oh yeah, no, it looks phenomenal.
They say they're sticking to his original story and game. Like they've come out and said like, oh, the game's going to be like a 1-to-1 creation. Like we're not veering off of what he already did. So like it's weird in that case. So they're preserving it as good as they can with like better graphics. And then in this case, they're like, screw it.
Right. I don't know. I just feel like if you hate Kojima that much and you don't want to touch his stuff, but you still want the money from it, then let him do the work.
Right. Be like, hey, as a contractor, be like, hey, you want to do this for us?
Right. And I'm sure he would have said, yeah, of course. Because there's things I'm sure he wants to fix. I'm sure there's things, not like a way, but
it would be a director's cut, 100%. It'd be like the Death Stranding director's cut. Also need to be out here with the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection director's cut. Volume 1, Part 2, whatever. Like it's just.
But
like
I bet you those games
nonsense.
would be running. I bet you those games would be running great.
Perfect.
Each and every one of them.
Everything would be 4K and everything would look gorgeous. We'd get widescreen support on Metal Gear Solid 1.
He probably still has like the master audio tracks too, so he can put cleaned up, super duper crystal clear versions of Metal Gear Solid 1 soundtrack in there. Right. All the up in the audio quality, all that. They should have let him do it. I know he would have wanted to, but
100%.
Oh well. People are petty.
Yeah. All right. Well, that I believe is all we got for you this week. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by and hang out in the chat while we're streaming. And then or tune in later over at youtube.com/supergamerboys. All of you guys are awesome. Listen on podcast services. Got a lot of awesome folks out there. Thank you for the support, for the love. If you want to support us even more, you can go to patreon.com/supergamerboys and throw us $1 or $5 or $10 or $15 if you want to get some sweet perks and financially support the show. We appreciate all you folks who do. And go check it out. See if any of them strike your fancy. Also, sgbstore.com. You can go over there to get some sweet merch. It's getting into that cold fall/winter season here. Might not hurt to get a little Super Gamer Boys sweater, maybe a long sleeve tee or something. We got the hoodie up in there. Get a coffee mug. Put that hot chocolate, a good cup of cocoa.
Look at us on the same page.
We're professionals. At least now we are. At the beginning of the show, forget the flub at the beginning of the show. Check it out, sgbstore.com. Again, shout out to DJ Trues, whose music you're currently hearing, but also Jack Srachinate for allowing us to use their music on our show. Those links are always in the show description of whatever music is playing in the background. Make sure to check them out. Show them some love and support over on Apple Music and Spotify. We appreciate all their work. And that they let us use it for free. It's fantastic. You can find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. You can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the fine folks find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
That is right. And Adrian, I think it's time for you to take us out here.
I sure can, folks. Thank you for joining us for what I believe is our first intercoastal Super Gamer Boys episode. It actually we got through it. I am impressed in your New York internet.
It's all right. I don't know what to deal with I honestly think some of the quality issues are more my computer than it is the internet, because I've been watching the bit rate on the stream and that's dead set killer. But I think my laptop just can't handle doing a microphone and the webcam and the streaming. So maybe it's time I upgrade my computer. This is an old laptop from years ago. So yeah, coast to coast. Oh man, don't get me started. M3 looks M3 Max. I need that M3 Max in my life.
It's right there. They're about to come. I think they come out this week. Christmas is right around the corner. Yeah. Maybe you can get it as a work present. I don't know. Talk to your boss. We'll see. But regardless, thank you all for hanging out with us for another week of Super Gamer Boys. We appreciate you, hanging out with us through this last break week. Hopefully that's the last one for a little bit. But yeah, as Garrett said, we appreciate all the support. We love it if you share our content. We do a lot of clips now, which are taking off and they're doing really well. Getting a lot of engagement from that. And just our prime episodes. We are seem like I don't want to toot our horn, but we're on the come up. Looks like.
Totally. We're making some cool stuff. Hitting our
We're
stride
making some
here.
waves, man. We're making some waves.
It's been fun.
Yeah. But until next time, as always, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Man, this Miles discourse irks me to no end, dude. I want to toss people off a bridge, dude. I don't get it.
Let me know. Let me know when you're doing it. I'll come join you.
All right, you grab one leg, I'll grab the other.